You know, my mother used to say a long time ago, whenever there would be any really catastrophe that was in the movies or on the air, she would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers, you know, even just on the sidelines. That's why I think that if news programs could make a conscious effort of showing rescue teams, of showing medical people, anybody who is coming into a place where there's a tragedy, to be sure that they include that. Because if you look for the helpers, you'll know that there's hope.
Hi, how are you? It is so good to see all of you. You ready for some fun? Well, first we have to talk about a little bit of business. If you watched the intro, you'll see that I have 6 new channel members. That's right. We started channel membership. It's real reasonable. It's only $3 a month, and you get to see like a lot of things behind the scenes, make direct suggestions to me, and work on ideas with me. We also will have some intro videos and some other perks here coming up once I get a little more input from my members. One of them was this patch. We're going to design this patch with your input. I like it. It's a nice patch. And I thought I could sew it on your jacket today since you're a new member. Did you like that? It's a nice patch. I like it. I'm glad you had input into it. And it looks so cool. We could do it as a button too. Would you like it as a button better? I guess we could do both. And then you could just, like I could just take a needle and some thread and sew it on. You might have noticed I did a fundraiser for my son and daughter's cat, Wallace. Wallace is a cat with bladder stones. Tie that up. Okay, now we got the needle. And we'll just put the patch up there. Let's put a couple stitches in. Just to hold it in place. Just a couple little. There. That holds it in place pretty good. Okay. Snap that off. And we're going to get talking. Do you like it? Do you want to see where, look in the mirror real quick? See if it looks good? That's a good spot. Yeah. That'll look nice on your pocket. So anyway, Wallace has has stones in his bladder. I think that's where they're at, and he needs a major surgery, and it just couldn't come at a worse time. So we did a really quick fundraiser, and we hit the original amount. And when we did, I asked everybody to stop donating, and it's over now. But I wanted to thank everyone who did participate and spread the word and donated and sent kind words. And we did that in the beginning, and we will do an update very soon, an update video. We'll let you know how Wallace is doing. And then we're going to sew that in there. Now, this may not seem like that cool, but I kind of like it. You know, if you move over here a little bit, so I could sew that edge better. Don't poke myself in the eye with it. It's getting shorter every time. I love this patch, and I just am so glad I got so much input from all my original members, and I'm glad we came up with a really cool design. You guys are awesome. I love having input from my members. Okay, now we're going to have to snip that off. Just use these scissors here. Okay, let's pull that thread out. And then we're going to have to re-thread it now. Get the spool here. And okay, tie that string up and then bust it here. Okay. And I'm really proud that I want to do something different here with memberships and with people like you that are watching. If you can't be a member, you can still make video suggestions. You can still work with me on video ideas if you have something you want me to do. But we will prioritize the members. And they've already made some suggestions. One is a Marvin video. Everybody wants to see Marvin. Oh my goodness. I'm so fed up with Marvin. He's such a pain in the ass. But I know what it's like. Everybody loves Marvin. Okay, it's really doing well. Just keep sewing you up here. Patch looks great. It looks wonderful on your jacket. Okay. Just gotta cinch it up. It's just getting shorter every time. Really proud of you. Joining, being a part of TirarNation. And, you know, I want to tell everybody something. I didn't want to do memberships because I don't want people to feel like they are. I'll snap that off here with a pair of scissors. Just leave it hang there. I don't think it'll hurt anything. Okay. Pull that string out. Re-thread it. Anybody to feel less than, because I think society has enough of that going around right now. Tie it knot. Okay. And I don't want people to feel like they're not part of the gang or part of the team. So remember that. That's why we keep the monthly membership low. There's only one tier, $3, $2.99, and the difference between a member and a regular viewer is not that dramatic, except for more more interaction with me and some behind the scenes photos, things like that. And there's some other perks. And hopefully if we get this patch designed properly, from this prototype, let me start sewing you in there. We can definitely, I will spend good money mailing patches or buttons to all of my members. I kind of like buttons because they're easier and I don't have to sew them on like this. But we could go with patches if you guys want a nice sexy patch. Part of TirarNation. I don't know. I'll leave that up to my members. And that is a decision. Input will be from the members first. Now, if you have any design ideas and you want to send them to me, you can send them to my email below. Okay, nearly done. Okay, it's getting short. Let's stick that out. One more, I'll do it. When I say I'm proud of my audience, I mean it. You guys are not fans. You're not groupies. You're my friends. You're a part of the gang. Okay, that's how to do it. And I've met so many of you, and I miss some of you a lot, especially my pals over in England. One of my friends just got an operation, as a matter of fact. I don't know if I should say her name, but she is a very close friend to my channel. My wife and my daughter are friends with her, and with her boyfriend too. And he is just, I love her boyfriend. He is the coolest guy. I could get this wrong and I'll really insult him, but I believe he's a Liverpool man. And he and I had probably a lot more in common than we had not in common. And I had so much fun sitting and drinking with him at the pub, and I think I surprised him because I could drink all day. It's not that big a deal. It's kind of scary. Okay, one more stitch there. Okay, yeah, that's gonna work. And boy, we drank some shanties that day at the Churchill pub. It's a very historic little pub, and I just had so much fun. Patch looks nice. Do you want to look at it in the mirror there behind you? Let me know what you think. Now remember, this is just a prototype, so if you don't like it, I'll get out the old scalpel and just we'll cut it right off. You like it? It's fun for a prototype. Yeah. Well, we haven't got any input yet, so this is all we have to work with. I have another one right here. This is one that somebody else suggested. Do you like it? Yeah, it's kind of nice. I'm having fun showing you all these things. And I think it helps promote creativity, because you start to think, well, do I want that? Or what do I think it should look like? And I really want to hear your opinion. So I'm hoping you'll you'll put that in comments or send it to me. And I'll do some community posts too. That's the other thing. When you're a member, there are private, only members can see the community posts. And believe me, you're not missing out on anything dire, like announcements like retiring or quitting, anything like that. Those will always be on the channel as a whole. But when it comes to things like what I'm working on, what I might want to do in the future for like a series of videos, and input from you, the audience, I do want to hear what the members who have invested in the channel think first. I want to get their opinion, and because I'm getting their opinion in private, then when I expand it to my larger audience, I can compare, and I can get a real good idea of what we're talking about, and I think that is going to be very valuable for me, because it gives me a chance to really get some honest opinions about things. I don't think I measured that wrong. Let me look. Let's see. I think it's in the right place. Yeah, no, it's in the right spot. Do you think so? You don't think I did it right? Well, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I thought you would have liked it a little higher up. Okay. I'll tell you what, when we get done with the prototype, when we do the new one, I'll put it right where you want it. Okay? Will that be alright for now? Okay, good. Okay. So, anyway, yeah, we had that little problem with Wallace. He got those bladder stones. I had a cat, my cat, Jack the cat, had those bladder stones. They were like crystals. They didn't cause blockage like they are with Wallace. What they did with my cat Jack was they cut, and he was bleeding, and he almost bled to death. And poor little guy, he survived. He had a major surgery. He was in the hospital for, I think, 2 or 3 days getting taken care of. It seems like he was in there for about 3 or 4 days, maybe, start to finish. And they had to put him on a catheter and a certain diet to get the remnants of the bladder shards out. And I think they did do a surgery where they cut him out, and then they had to like flush him out to get him all out of his bladder. And he did great. This was ages ago, and he turned out to 100% and was doing absolutely swimmingly after the surgery. He recovered fully, and I was really proud that I had the surgery done, but it was expensive. Now, when I had it done, it was around $1,100, $1,200. This one was a little more expensive. It's a little more extensive. So it was like between $1,700 and $2,000, they said. So, and probably 10 years ago. So that might have something to do with it. And now here's the funny story. We had a little white cockapoo at the same time. Blondie. Little Blondie. She had a blonde ear, and the rest of her was white. Adorable little dog. And Blondie was the boss. She was the boss of the house. She was the one in charge. And little Blondie had bladder stones also. I don't know if it was the city water. There was too much calcium in it. We had fresh water for our dogs all the time. We changed it all the time. They were the only 2 animals that had them. The rest of my animals never had them before or after. Only those 2. But at the same time Jack got his bladder stones removed, we found out Blondie had bladder stones. Now, she was a very small cockapoo, on the very small side. just a little lap dog, tiny little girl. I think she was like 15 pounds at the most. And they took out, and I'm not joking, and I've got big hands for a man. I'm a very big guy. I got really big hands, so this is very big. Okay? Now, they took out a chunk, busted up block of these pyramid-shaped bladder stones out of Blondie that filled up a plastic baggie. They were like this big in total, and I was floored. I knew she was having trouble because she couldn't control her bladder very well, and she was really struggling. But we had no idea that this was the problem. We thought it had something to do with diet. There's a lot of reasons dogs have problems. And when we found out, then she was a lot better. She did a lot better with her bathroom breaks and got back to normal. And I was so happy. You know, we knew something was wrong because she was having problems. And we took her in, and then when we found out she had this massive amount of bladder stones in her body, and they're hard as rock. They look like three-sided dice, like when you play Dungeons and Dragons. They're big. They're like, that thick, and you could put them together like a puzzle, and it was like, they were busted in pieces, but it was like an area that big. And we were just stunned that this much rock, literally rock, come out of this tiny little dog. She must have been so miserable. And that was another surgery, and that was another $1,000+ at the time. And I think my vet took pity on me because I had a cat and a dog literally within days and weeks of each other, needing almost the same surgery. Now, hers didn't make her bleed out. Jack's did. What happened was when he was trying to pee, these shards of bladder stone came out and cut on the way out and made him bleed. And we luckily, got him to the vet in time. It saved his life. But in Blondie's case, it was more of a behavioral issue, and we just couldn't. It was a good dog. All of a sudden, she's just not holding her urine, and seems like she's in pain and discomfort. So we took her in, and this was right around the same time, and said, got an X-ray, and they said she's got bladder stones too. And we have city water too, which is weird, and we filter it, so it's a little. How does it? I'm sure there's a reason it happens, but it's just one of those things. And I know this might sound weird, but I know how traumatic and disturbing it can be when you have a pet. Pets are like family. They're not like family. They are family. And when you see them going through all kinds of torment and suffering, you wonder how long they've been in discomfort and pain before you realize what's going on, and it really breaks your heart, and you really worry that you haven't been a good owner and everything. And I'm one of those people, and I know it's not the greatest attitude in the world, but I think if I just throw money at it and fix it, it'll be all right. But my heart always went out to these little cat and dog because I knew they suffered so much, and I was glad. And later in life, Blondie had an enlarged heart, and eventually we lost her. But we did everything medically possible for her, and she lived. She was on all kinds of medications near the end, and she lived to be 14. We had her from puppy, and we had our dog Sways that you guys might remember, and he was 15 or 16, and when we had him put down, he was in an incredible amount of pain, arthritis, and just he couldn't function. And he had some good days. He had some good months leading up to when we took him to the vet and did the right thing. And he got all kinds of treats, and he lived a really nice life. But at the end, it was time, and we dealt with it properly. And it was really hard for me to get over losing that little guy. And then make this even more depressing, this year we lost Jack. I don't really want to go into details of it because it was not a good situation. It wasn't a controlled situation. He was another animal attacked him, and I don't want to go into detail, but we ended up losing Jack, and it was absolutely devastating because the poor little guy literally passed away in my wife's arms, and we took him to the vet, but there was just nothing that could be done. It was just too late. He didn't make it, and for a cat that had all the adventures that Jack had, and I'm talking, he would break out of the house like a crazy man and go on wild adventures and come back covered in mud. He was a beautiful long-haired cat, and he would come back completely covered in mud, and I would get so mad at him. But I really loved that silly little cat, and he got his little wet food. I know wet food helps with the bladder stones, by the way. I do know that. And he'd get his wet food, a little bit of dry, and he was so particular. And he was just he had his food. We fed him on a tree, like one of those cat trees. He loved that. He loved being fed like that. He was the big shot. And he was very lovable, but he had a little mean streak to him. And he liked to be feisty. He was not a sedentary fat cat laying around. He was skinny, in great shape, and muscular and strong, and played like a kitten right up till his last days. He was absolutely a fun-loving, aggressive little guy, and he was a wonderful addition to our family, and I miss him every day. And and it's going to be a long time before I am over what happened to him. It was not good, and it's taken me this long to talk about it because it was not a good situation, and sometimes you fail. And I think that's kind of my message here today. There are wonderful people out there who will come to your aid whenever there's an emergency. People will stop what they're doing and call 911 and stop their car and help rescue people. And I've done things like that my whole life. And I have tried to pride myself on taking care of my problems as best I can on my own. But when you do ask for community help and that help comes, it needs to be recognized, and it needs to be rewarded, and the love needs to be shown, because people help each other out of duty and honor, but they help the most because they love each other. They love this world, they love their fellow man, and they love their animal brethren too. And they don't want to see anybody suffer. And if you can save a life, you do it. And I know that that's what everybody had in their heart when they helped us this week. And like I said, sometimes you fail, sometimes you lose, sometimes things just don't work out. But you do the best you can, and you pick yourself up, and you brush yourself off, and you keep going. I have had a really hard, rough year starting around. Well, last year was really bad for me. I had some really bad health issues that I'm completely over now and completely doing great. From like September to December, I was pretty ill. I had a lot of problems. You might have noticed because I wasn't on my channel as much. And then this year, I've had some major issues starting in March, April that have basically been resolved, but have affected me emotionally and creatively, even today, up to today. And I am not struggling at all, but I am being an adult and trying to stay strong and trying to work through them and trying to move on. Because that's all I can do. That's all any of us can do. And I need you to know that if you have problems in life, like physical illnesses, mental illnesses, emotional problems, anything, developmental problems, don't let these things define you as a human being. Don't let that be the final word on who you are. We are the sum of all the parts that make us up. And you have to be as strong as you can be. You really do. And that strength comes from inside. And it's not muscles, and it's not that I'm a big guy. What really pushes me, gets me out of bed, keeps me going every day, is the mind and the heart and the soul pushing, never giving up, never surrendering, never letting myself fold. I might get beaten and I might get knocked down, but I get back up. I'm not the healthiest man in the world, and I've had some pretty hard setbacks the last few years. And I've had to live with a lot of things. But I have had the best family and friends, people like you, in my life that let me know that I am not alone and I can't give up. I can't surrender to it and I can't stop. And I think that's an important lesson. I've been wanting to do a video about the special people in the world, like Mr. Rogers, Richard Simmons, the Crocodile Hunter, Bob Ross, Robin Williams, people that brought happiness and joy and love to total strangers. They brought hope to the whole world. They changed the world. They wasn't good enough to be the best at their field. They weren't content being the expert, the best painter, children's program, crocodile hunter, fitness guru. They transcended what they were. They transcended who they were to become a spiritual leader of people around them. And they didn't use religion to do it. They used their actions. They used their words. They met people as equals. And they showed compassion to everyone around them and everything around them. When you watch Bob Ross rescuing a squirrel, or the crocodile hunter saving an animal, or Mr. Rogers telling parents how to talk to their children, don't give up on them, don't back down. And you see Richard Simmons just not giving up on people, taking his personal time to email, to talk on the phone, to message people, to inspire people, to love people. And you see Robin Williams just giving of himself 100% of the time and speaking the truth to the world. And I think sometimes we don't have those voices anymore. They're all gone. The ones I grew up with are all gone. And who stepped in to replace them? Who are the helpers? Who are the kind voices and those people out there trying to spread the good word? And I would need to stand on a step ladder just to kiss these men's asses. They have so transcended their art. But I want you to know that those people are out there. They're good. They've got a good heart. They've got a good message. And you've got to seek them out. When people are preaching hate and division and gloom and doom and constantly preaching the end, the end, the end, the end. I'm going to do a video on this, by the way, a more thorough look at this. They're not your friend. They don't love you. They don't care about you. They have an agenda. And nothing they're doing comes from love. Well, love of themselves, but not of you. They could care less about you. I think that's enough for today. I just want you to know. You call a spade when you see somebody preaching hate, when you see them preaching doom, when you tell them everything's going to be destroyed if you don't do this or you don't do that, it's all over with. We're all going to listen to their words and know that they mean it. They mean it. They're not your friend. Now, I may not be right about everything, but I'm right about this. Cut them loose and start following people that are trying to build you up. People that are looking forward. People that are trying to make a difference. When you hear people talk about the good old days, if you ever want to hear about the good old days, ask me, because I was there. And I got news for you. The good old days sucked. Things are way, way better now. I'll take this world today over 30, 40 years ago in a minute. If I had a time machine, I wouldn't go back. I assure you. And if you went back, I would show you why you just made a mistake. And you'd come right back to here with me. I assure you. So, okay. That's all I have today. A lot of talk and not a lot of triggers, but I had fun. If you want to join, join. If you don't, don't. And know that I love you. I love all of you very much. I love being Dr. Andrew Michaels, and I love being here to help you. And until I see all of you again, please have a most blessed day. And know that I care about you deeply. We're in this together, okay? All right. Bye-bye. Look for the helpers.